Hey guys, Bias Ramos here, and Dolphins won their final preseason game against the New Orleans Saints. They won it 16-13, and some news: starting quarterback was named right after the game. Brian Flores post-game press conference immediately named the starter, but you're gonna have to wait a couple more seconds. Let's get into it.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team.
So, right out the gates at the post-game press conference, Brian Flores named Ryan Fitzpatrick the starter, and wow, that was fast. And then he said that Josh Rosen wasn't so happy about it, but it is what it is. And a lot of people, I was watching Brian Flores' press conference live on YouTube, and I saw like just a bunch of people just being upset about it. And realistically, I'm not upset about it just because if you think about it, the first couple of games of the season, let's go over them. Baltimore Ravens, we always had trouble against your defense. What's next? Patriots. Enough said there. Cowboys, their defense has been pretty good last season. Let's see if that carries over into this season. Chargers, just a good team overall. And then we go into the bye, and then we face the Redskins, Bills, Steelers, Jets, Colts, Bills again, Browns, Philly, Jets again, Giants, then Bengals, and then Patriots to close off the season. Those first 4 games before the bye, every one of those teams were in the playoffs last year. Usually playoff teams have good defenses, good offenses, blah, blah, blah. You want the player that the Dolphins just invested a second round and 5th round pick into to get destroyed by either one of those teams' defenses to start off his Miami Dolphins career? No, you don't. If you want him to be the future quarterback, you want him to watch and see how Fitzpatrick handles playing those tough teams, and then maybe usher him in after the bye week or just later on in the season. It just depends on how the season's going so far. Otherwise, I don't see the point in just setting up Rosen for failure, facing those tough teams, right? But that's just my opinion. Enough of that. Let's go over some stats. I'm just gonna highlight just the big plays from Dolphins players over this game, and see who's on the verge of making the team and who's not. So, Jake Rudock, he played the entire game. He went 22 for 29. 229 yards. He had a 7.9 average, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, and he was sacked once for a loss of a yard. And he had a 109.7 quarterback rating, which is not bad. Then when we go to rushing, we have Mark Walton, who had the most carries. He had 12 carries for 52 yards. Then following him was Myles Gaskin, 8 carries, 48 yards, and then Patrick Laird, 6 carries, 13 yards. And then Kenneth Farrell, he had 1 carry for 4 yards, and that was pretty much it that you saw from him. And then we had, yes, Albert Wilson was back on the field. The first drive, he got like 4 times to touch the ball, 2 or 3 passes to him, and then he had 1 carry in the backfield, but it was negative 2 yards. He was coming across the field. They hiked it, and then the quarterback just quickly gave it to Albert Wilson, and then he kind of just froze for a second there, and then that's when he got tackled for a loss. But first action in a while, so live action against another team that is not the Dolphins. So it's good. It's good to see him on the field. Very happy about that. He was one of my favorite players into the season last year before he got injured. Now, standout receiver of the game, well, tight end, is my Eric. I don't know his first name, but 6 receptions, 78 yards, a long of 30, and he had 6 targets, so he didn't even drop a ball. I think my last video I said that I doubt he'll make the team over Clive Walford, and then I think Clive Walford got cut this past week, so wow. Will he make the team? I'm not too sure, but you never know. You never know. Then following him was Isaiah Ford, 3 receptions, 37 yards. Chandler Cox, 2 receptions, 25 yards. Bryce Butler, 2 receptions, 18 yards. Myles Gaskin, 2 receptions, 17 yards. Albert Wilson, 2 receptions, 16 yards on 2. Okay, so he only had 3 times touching the ball. 2 receptions, 16 yards for 2 receptions. And then, let's see, who else? Patrick Laird, 1 reception, 15 yards. TJ Ramming, he had 1 reception, 15 yards. Mark Walton, 1 reception, 2 yards. And then no one else caught a ball. Overall, I only see a couple of those guys making the team. I don't think Bryce Butler is going to make the team. And if he is, he's just slightly going to make it. Slightly just going to make the cut. Honestly. Now when we flip it over to defense, most of these guys are bubble guys and just trying to make the team. So we have Watson, 4 solo tackles, but he had 10 total tackles overall. Smith, not Maurice Smith, but it's just Smith, had 5 tackles, 8 total tackles. Torrey McTyer, 5 tackles, 7 overall. Maurice Smith, 4 tackles, 6 overall. Nick DeLuca, 3 tackles, 6 overall. And then just most of them are just 3s, 2s, and 1s. Not much to say there. But we got a couple of sacks. We got 2 sacks. We got 1 from Hendricks, and then we got 1 from Maurice Smith. So that's not bad. And then Needham had a nice tackle for a loss. I saw that earlier. It's not much there. No turnovers for either team, I believe so. And then kick returns, punt returns, we didn't have any kick returns, but punt returns, CJ Ramming 2 returns for 7 yards. I believe it was just one of them. He returned, and the other one he just waved off. And then we have Jason Sanders going 3 for 3 on field goals, and then 1 for 1 on extra points. His longest was 46 yards, which is not bad at all. Good job, Jason. And then Matt Hack had 3 punts. Up until the first half, he only had 1. We were scoring on every possession, whether it was a field goal or a touchdown. He had 3 punts, 147 yards, 49-yard average, and 2 of them were in the 20. The longest one was 61 yards. So, that being said, the Dolphins are going to start making cuts probably like right now. Not really, but tomorrow start expecting cuts. Saturday is the last day for them to just I think Saturday at 4 o'clock is when the deadline is to shape your roster down to 53. And then the following day we'll get to sign 10 players to the practice squad, whether if it's our guys or some other guys that we saw around the NFL that we might like to have them on the team. So we'll see. So that's about all. Good game out of the Dolphins. Finished the preseason 3-1. I know it doesn't mean much, but it's always good to win. It's always good. Brian Flores was pretty happy with the team. Fitzpatrick had a press conference while I was making this video, but I'll check it out later, or maybe right now after I finish this, and maybe get back to you guys about that. Got back from watching Fitzpatrick and Josh Rosen's press conference, and Josh Rosen was just, talking how he normally does, just saying he needs to get better, blah, blah, blah. He seemed disappointed, but he knew what's the deal, what he has to do to get better and just keep on improving. So let's hope he does that. In all honesty, like I mentioned earlier, you don't want him facing the Ravens, then the Patriots, then the Cowboys, then the Chargers. You don't want that at all. You don't want him facing those tough defenses. Most likely, we bring him out after the bye week against the Ravens. That might be what happens. And if not, as late as week 11, maybe. I feel like after week 8 would be the Monday night game at Pittsburgh. After that game, let's see if, he's still not the starter yet. If he's still not then, and the season's not going well, then I expect them to put him in and just see what they can do. But, if Fitzpatrick does well to kick off the season and, get us a couple wins against those tough teams, let's see. You never know. So, that's all I have for you guys. I'm going to plan to make a 53-man roster video. I'll probably make it tomorrow when I have some time. and also probably try to make an article that goes hand in hand with it, and then try to make some fantasy tips. I know a lot of you guys probably have already drafted in your fantasy leagues, but me and Matt have been wanting to make a fantasy video, so let's see if we can get that in the works. But that is all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video, give it a nice thumbs up. And also, lastly, September 8th, 1 o'clock, Sunday, Dolphins face the Baltimore Ravens to open up the season. Let's see if we can contain Lamar Jackson, almost said Miller, torn ACL, poor guy. But Lamar Jackson and the rest of the crew with the Ravens.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team.